Hey there guys, so our new story begins from a jail where our female lead woke up after being captured. Serafina was confused but soon recalled how she was captured by those barbarians as spoil of war. So, a few days ago a battle took place between the Western Kingdom and the Eastern Kingdom of Barbarians, where barbarians clearly took advantage of their brute strength. Western Kingdom had no chance of winning, yet their commander decided to stand their ground and fight till the end, and even encouraged others to do the same, but she realized she has to buy time for others to retreat. But before she could do that, the enemy commander proposed a one-on-one fight. Serafina did it without hesitation and fought gallantly as the warrior princess. But when both used their signature move, Sera lost, and that is how she got captured by the barbarians as spoil of war. That barbarian was happy because he had many uses of her body and mind, and a woman as spoil of war. You can imagine what her life will be from now on, excluding all the heavy labor work. Who knows how many men will. That caused a nervous breakdown, but she got even more worried for her people for whom she fought so they could withdraw. Their Western nation is barely surviving. With so less farming lands, they had decided to conquer the East where lands are fertile and there's more food for their people to survive. That is why this whole war is going on. In simple terms, Westerners are invaders. Well anyways, Cersei came to clean up Sera before she presents her to the man who captured her. At first Sera thought it's her interrogation and torture time, but no. Cersei just wanted to clean her up and make her sparkle. That's all. She has caught her master's attention, so yeah. What she thought will happen to her might never happen. Then, soon the guy showed up, and he was humongous. His name was Veor, and Sera thinks Easterners use Western females as science experiments, so Sera got mentally prepared to die with dignity. But Veor was confused why she's so eager to die as sacrifice. All he wants is to take her as bride. That was really a huge shocker for the girl, but for Veor. Their clan takes female knights as brides, which Sera saw as forceful kidnapping. But in reality, Veor saw just how profound she is with sword when they fought, which made him fall for her at first sight. On that note, Veor still promised he won't force her to marry him. This was a first for Sera 7 years ago when she was first assigned as the commander of 17th Eastern Expedition. Her brother was unhappy and gave her a party invitation of Countess Ildel. Serafina comes from a family of Margrave Lavillant, so her standing in the nobility was quite high, yet she has to endure all the criticism because she's a woman knight. Here they thought a woman's job is to sit back quietly and take care of the household. That type of narrow view had been in these people's mind. So Sera had to always endure this nonsense treatment, even from her friends. She had always saw her job as a service to her people, but none had ever understood her, because only she looked at the reality of their kingdom. How the poor were forced to commit crime just to get food on the plate, but now a new nightmare had shown up in the form of Veor, so she woke up sweating only to find herself besides that same nightmare. Seeing the situation, she thought about that, but Veor stayed calm despite being without clothes. Now Sera thought he forced her, and Veor was being unclear. So instead of giving birth to a new enemy, she thought of killing herself. Her pride as a noble has been defiled the moment she lost on the battlefield. And now she got captured and pregnant. It's a shame she can't endure, so she wants to die before that. She sounded so serious for Veor to even understand why she's going nuts. So Cersei appears to explain how they brought Sera here. By giving her sleeping pills so she could rest comfortably. That amount of pills were enough for their people. But for Sera it was a bit much that she collapsed. So that out of the way, Veor asked her to come outside because he had prepared a good breakfast. After all, she hasn't eaten anything from the day she was brought here. Now that's true, but since she's a prisoner of war, Sera didn't have any high hopes of getting good breakfast. But to her surprise, Veor had cooked a huge chunk of meat that could be enough for 5 people easily. In West even animals are rare, so they rarely get meat. But here in East it's quite normal. At first she tried to resist, but her tummy was honest. That is why Veor gave her a little pep talk to make her understand that even in her situation, if she gets food, then she should consider herself lucky. And Cersei told her how Veor himself went on a hunt to find a good meal for her. More so, he's the son of village chief, so his standing is quite high. So he's showing the highest level of hospitality. That is why Sera gave up, and just a bite of this meat sent her to heaven. She really had a goofy look on her face, but she still got stuck up that she doesn't want to marry him. On that note, She was curious about the creature she was eating, and Veor said its body is right outside. Surprisingly, it turned out to be a dragon. A creature whole West thinks is just a fairy tale. Yet she wasn't stopping at all, and ate full portion she was offered. After which Veor was ready to take her outside and show her the area. Sarah didn't understand why he's giving such freedom to a prisoner. But Veor never had any hidden agenda. He really did want to just simply show her the place, and nothing more. That is why Sarah tagged along with him, because his good meal won't sway her opinion away. But the moment she stepped outside, she saw a full bloom, a rare sight because such beautiful place doesn't exist in the West. Then Veor took her a bit deeper into the forest. Whole place was filled with animals, and this is also where they can find a dragon. Although they are herbivores, they're extremely territorial. Then up ahead there was a waterfall, something that doesn't exist in the West. And Veor brought her here to let her have a bath. Both Cersei and Veor were ready, which spooked Sarah, because mixed bath culture doesn't exist in the West. But Cersei told her she would begin to smell at this point, which convinced her to dip in the river. Although she was making quite a fuss, so Veor went to a different water stream. They were surrounded by monsters left and right, so in fear Sarah ran off in an opposite way where she kept her clothes. But that was the same way where Veor was. He had cleaned up and Sarah didn't recognize him at all. Although she did fall for that handsome face that she began to blush. But she was cold, so Veor gave her his coat. He was being such a gentleman, and even now Sarah couldn't recognize him. So Veor decided to carry her back, and Cersei showed up. She said that it's Veor and gave a shocker to Sarah. Her reaction to it was hilarious that she ended up slapping the guy, because she was already spooked by monsters and now this. But Cersei said it's fine because Veor patrols this area, so he would never let any dangerous thing near them. Slowly Sarah was starting to fall for the guy, but days later, that ugly old man vibe grew back. And that is where our recap ends for today. So stay tuned to watch the next part, and make sure you have subscribed to the channel, or you might miss it. Till then, take care.